Hello friends, welcome to you all to our channel Vigyan Ghar. We are coming with the explanations of the entrance examinations, especially for the MSc entrance examinations. So we all face a difficulty when it comes to the entrance examination to find out the answers keys, and most difficult part is to find out the proper explanations of the questions. We wonder that there are a lot of channels and mediums are available on the social media, but no one is providing the appropriate explanations of the solutions. So that is why we thought of launching our channel. Through this channel, we will ensure to give you an appropriate explanation of the solution. Okay. So first of all, we are going to start with the JNU Life Science MSc entrance exam question paper, because we all know that the exam is on 5th of October. Okay. So in this particular video, I'm going to discuss the 2018 question paper and the part A of this question paper. So if you want to get notified for the further upcoming videos of the part B, please like, share and subscribe our channel, that is the eVigyan Ghar. If you have any specific request or query, you can mail us at the evigyanghar@gmail.com, or you can also comment us. Okay, so let's begin with the first question of the part A. The question is, alternation of generation is seen in. So first of all, what is alternation of generation? So it is the alternation between the sexual and the asexual phases in the life cycle. If we talk about the plants, in case of the plants, the sexual phase is the gametophyte generation, which is haploid, and it produces the gametes or the sex cells. While the asexual phase is called the sporophyte generation. It is diploid in nature and it produces the spores asexually. And this alternation of generation is found in all kinds of the plants: bryophyte, pteridophyte, gymnosperm and the angiosperm. So in this case, the correct option is A, that is all plants. Okay. So move to the next question. Movement of substances across a cell membrane from a lower to a region of higher concentration that expends energy is called. So first of all, the movement of a substances can occur by two modes, that is the active transport and passive transport. So the passive transport is the movement of substances from a region of the higher concentration to a lower concentration, and without any expenditure of the energy. And the example of this mode of transport are the osmosis, diffusion and facilitated diffusion. Okay. The another mode of transport is the active transport. It includes the movement of substances from a region of lower concentration to a higher concentration at the expense of the energy. So for this question, the correct option is C, that is the active transport, because here they are asking the movement of substances from a lower to a region of higher concentration at the expense of the energy. That is why the correct option is C, active transport. Okay. So move to the next question. Panting in dogs is a process of. So sometimes we say that the dog is panting, and at the time of the panting, its tongue is outside its mouth. So it is a process of the thermoregulation. The thermoregulation is maintaining the temperature of our body. Okay. So in case of the dogs, it is a cooling mechanism, because dogs don't have the sweat glands, effective system of the sweat glands. So they cool their bodies by using the evaporation of moisture from their mouth and tongue. So the panting in dogs is a process of the thermoregulation. So the correct option is B. The pH of blood would decrease as a result of. So a decrease in pH means an increase in acidity, and an increase in pH means there is an alkalinity, because the neutral pH is 7. So below 7, acidic, above 7, it's alkaline. Okay, so when we are hyperventilating, there will be an accumulation or buildup of the carbon dioxide in our body. Then this carbon dioxide will react with the water inside the RBC in a presence of enzyme carbonic anhydrase, and it will produce the carbonic acid. Now this carbonic acid will break down into the hydrogen ion and bicarbonate ion. Okay, so this hydrogen ion will release into the plasma and they will cause a decrease in pH. So for this question, the correct option answer is option B, that is the hypoventilation. Which one of the following antibacterial drugs does not inhibit cell wall synthesis? So all these drugs are an example of the antibacterial drugs, but their mode of action is different. So ampicillin, cephalosporin and vancomycin perform their function by inhibiting the cell wall synthesis because they inhibit the peptidoglycan synthesis. Okay, but the erythromycin, which is also an antibacterial drug, but it does not inhibit cell wall synthesis. It inhibits the bacterial protein synthesis by preventing the enzyme peptidyltransferase from adding the growing peptide chain attached to transfer RNA to the next amino acid. Okay, so their mode of actions are different, but they all are the antibacterial drugs. So for this option, the correct option would be C, that is the erythromycin. Which one of the following is an amphibious plants? So the amphibious plants are the plants that are rooted in the mud but grow up through the water and out in the air. So basically they have two types of the leaves. Okay, submerged and the floating leaves. And the example of this kind of the plant is the Polygonum. So the correct option for this question is A, Polygonum. What is the value of standard deviation for the following set of data? So here you can calculate the value of the standard deviation by using an appropriate formula. Okay, so the answer for this question would be B, that is 2. The next question is Darwin finches are a good examples of. So the Darwin finches are an example of the adaptive radiation. So what is adaptive radiation? Okay, it is a process of evolution of different species in a particular given geographical area which starts from a point and radiating to other areas of the habitat. Okay, so we all know that when Darwin's went on to the Galapagos Island, they found out there different kinds of the beak, which were differing in their structure of the beak. Okay, but all these birds were originated from the original seed-eating features. Okay, so to avoid the competition for the food in that particular habitat, they have to adapt. Okay, so the beak shape modified and eventually there was a different kinds of the birds which were differing in their shape of the beak. So this is the adaptive radiation. So the correct option for this question is D, that is the adaptive radiation. Here comes to the next question, that is what is added to the 3' end of many eukaryotic mRNA after transcription. So we all know that in case of the eukaryotes after transcription, there are post-transcriptional modification in the mRNA. Basically, there are 3 types of the post-transcriptional modification, that is capping at the 5' end and the tailing at the 3' end. And the third one is the RNA splicing. So in the tailing process at the 3' end, there is an addition of the poly A tail or the polyadenylation. Okay, so the correct option for this one is the B, that is a poly A tail. So correct option is B. Mode of DNA replication E. coli is, okay. So whether we are talking about the prokaryote and eukaryote, but DNA replication is semi-conservative. So the semi-conservative DNA replication is when the two copies of the original DNA are produced. Among them, each copy contains one original strand and one newly synthesized strand. Okay, but in case of the eukaryotes, this DNA replication is unidirectional. Okay, so once the DNA start replicating from the origin site, it will move or continue only in the one direction. In contrast to the eukaryotes, in case of the prokaryotes, this process is bidirectional. That means at the point of the origin of replication, it can continue in both the direction. And in case of the prokaryotes, the site of the origin of replication is called the ORI-C. Okay. So here we can say the answer should be semi-conservative and bidirectional. That is why the correct option is C. A very simple question. In which phase of the cell cycle does DNA replication occur? So we all know that there are three different phases, G1, S and G2 phase. So DNA replication occurs in the S phase, that is also known as the synthesis phase. So the correct option will be C, option C. Which one of these following cell compartment is associated with a protein skeleton composed of the lamins? Okay, so the lamins are also known as the nuclear lamins. Okay, and these are the fibrous protein which provide structural function and transcriptional regulation in the cell nucleus. Okay, these lamins also interact with the inner nuclear membrane proteins to form the nuclear lamina on the interior of the nuclear envelope. So in a way we can say that these lamins provide the structural framework to the nucleus. So the correct option for this question is C, that is option C. Adjuvants. Okay, so what are adjuvants? So adjuvants are the special additives. Okay, and these are used to enhance and orient the immune response. How they perform this function? Okay, so these adjuvants, what they do? They cause the slow release of the immunogen, which is known as the depot effect. Okay, so by the slow release of the immunogen, the phagocytes and other immune cells get enough time for locating and neutralizing it. Okay, and in this process they also make the memory cells. Okay, so that whenever there will be any natural infection next time, these memory cells will be utilized. Okay, so the correct option would be B, that is the adjuvant causes the slow release of the antigen. When the experimentally isolated parts of the embryo develop less structure than expected from their fate map, it is referred to as, okay, so it is referred to as the regulative development. Okay, so the answer would be B. So what is regulative development? Okay, so in case of the regulative development, what happens? It is the ability of the cells to achieve their respective fate by interaction with other cells. So if the cells are able to interactive with the other cells, they will produce all the structures which were expected. But in this case, because we have isolated the parts of the embryo, so now the cells are not able to interact with each other. That is why they are producing the less structures as that were the expected. Okay, so the correct option would be B. Which one of the following sequences correctly orders portions of the electromagnetic spectrum in terms of the increasing photon energy? Okay, so here we can say that this is the electromagnetic spectrum. we all know that we can visualize the region of the visible light of the electromagnetic spectrum, okay, which extends from the 400 nanometer to the 700 nanometer, that is the wavelength. Okay, so we all know that the wavelength and the energy are inversely proportional to the each other. So from gamma rays to the radio waves, the wavelength is increasing. Okay, so the gamma rays has the shorter wavelength and the radio waves has the longest wavelength, but their photon energy will be reversed. The gamma rays will have the maximum photon energy, and the radio waves will have the least photon energy. Okay, so here we can say that the terms of the increasing photon energy, so the radio waves will have the least photon energy, then infrared, then visible light, UV and X-ray. So option A is correct. The next question is, individuals diagnosed with a xeroderma pigmentosum are most likely to develop skin cancer as they are deficient in. Okay, so what is xeroderma pigmentosum? So xeroderma pigmentosum is an inherited condition which is characterized by an extreme sensitivity to the ultraviolet radiations from the sunlight. Okay, this condition mostly affect the eyes and the skin because this is the exposed part of in our body. Okay, the people which are suffering from the xeroderma pigmentosum have a greatly increased risk of developing the skin cancer. Okay, so xeroderma pigmentosum is caused by mutations in genes that are involved in repairing damaged DNA. So because now there is a defect in the DNA repair system, so DNA will not be able to repair. And this system uh, which is mutated, that is the nucleotide excision repair. Okay, so many of the genes related to the xeroderma pigmentosum are part of a DNA repair process known as the nucleotide excision repair. Okay, so the major feature of the xeroderma pigmentosum results from a buildup of the unpaired DNA damage. So what will happen? There will be DNA damage, but it will not be able to repair because there is a defect in the nucleotide excision repair. So there will be the buildup of the damaged DNA, which more likely develop into the skin cancer. So the correct answer for this question is A, that is nucleotide excision repair. So the next question is, what will be the frequencies of X-rays produced by 30 kilovolt electrons? Planck constant is this, change of electron is there. So the correct answer for this question is option A, 7.2 into 10 to the power 18 hertz. Next question is, a radioactive substance has a half-life of T. So what is the time taken for 3/4 of the original atoms of the atoms to disintegrate? Okay, so half-life means we know that is the time which will be taken for number of atoms to be disintegrate 1/2. Okay, so in so here we can say that at the time of T, the n by half to be disintegrated. Okay, so the number of disintegrated atom would be n minus n by 2 is equal to n by 2. Okay, अब अगर हम बात करते हैं नेक्स्ट हाफ लाइफ की, तो उसमें क्या होगा? अगर हम नेक्स्ट हाफ लाइफ की बात करते हैं तो n by 4 atom would be disintegrate because only these are left. Okay, so the number of disintegrated atom in the next half life would be n by 4. So total number of disintegrated would be n by 2 plus n by 4, that would be 3 by 4 n. Okay, so in 2t, okay, what is the time taken for 3 by 4 of the original atoms to disintegrate? Okay, so the time taken is 2t. In one half life, half of the atoms would be disintegrated and half will be left. In the another half-life, the n by 4 of this n by half would be disintegrated. Okay. So if we talk about in total 2t, n by 2 plus n by 4 is equal to 3 by 4 n would be disintegrated and only 1 by 4 n would be remain disintegrated. Fine. So in this case, the correct answer would be A, option A. If 200 of a 5 ml HCl solution is first diluted to 1 liter and then 20 ml of this diluted solution is further diluted to 1 liter, the pH of the final solution would be. Okay, so let's solve this. First, the 200 ml of solution is being diluted to 1 liter. Okay, so that means dilution is 5 times. Fine. So 5 molar HCl will become 1 molar HCl. Now the 20 ml of this 1 molar HCl, लिखा है ना यहाँ पे 20 ml of this diluted solution. That means 20 ml of this 1 molar HCl solution is further diluted to 1 liter. Okay. So if 20 ml is being diluted into the 1 liter, so now the dilution is 50 times. Okay. So 1 molar HCl will become again 50 times diluted. So that will be 0.02 molar, or we can write down a 2 into 10 to the power minus 2 molar. So the formula to calculate pH is equal to minus log H positive concentration in molar. Okay. So here we can write down is like this, minus log 2 plus minus log 10 to the power minus 2. We all know that the value of minus log 2 is equal to 0.3012 and it will become minus would become plus, it will be 2. So when 2 will be subtracted, this value will be subtracted from the 2, the value will become pH is equal to 1.7. So the correct option would be C. So for this, the option C is correct. Okay. So the next question is, an acid-base neutralization is an example of which of the following reaction? Okay. So this is an example of the double displacement reaction. So what are double displacement reaction? In double displacement reaction, there are two compounds which react by an exchange of ions to form two new compounds. Okay. And the positive, in this reaction, the positive ion exchanges the negative ions. Okay. And in this acid-base reaction, a salt is product of this acid-base reaction. Okay. Acid and base will be neutralized and the salt will be formed. So this acid-base neutralization is an example of the double displacement reaction. So the correct option for this one is the A. The next question is the what are enantiomers? Okay, so the enantiomers are the chiral molecules. Chiral molecules. We all know what are the chiral molecules. When all the four valencies of the carbon are occupied by the different groups, then that molecule is known as the chiral molecules. So enantiomers are the chiral molecules that are mirror images of one another. Okay. But these molecules are non-superimposable. Okay, so here we can see that these carbon is a chiral molecule. Okay, and these both structure are mirror image, but they are not superimposed to each other. Okay, so these types of the molecules are called as the enantiomers. Okay, so they cannot be placed on each other because they are not superimposable, but they are mirror images and they have chiral molecules. So the correct explanation for this would be B, non-superimposable stereomers. So the next question is differentiation of sine x square plus 1 with respect to x. So the correct option for this is A. A is correct. Okay. So the next question is, Which are the two numbers whose sum is 26 and whose product is as large as possible? So here we can see that the sum for all the pairs is 26. 10 plus 16, 26. 11 plus 15, 26. 12 plus 14, 26. And 13 plus 13, 26. But the product of all these are different. For 10 into 16, it is 116. For 15 into 11, it is I think 165. Yes. For 14 into 12, it is 168, and for 13 is to 13, it is 169. Okay. So the largest product is for 13 into 13. So the correct option for this is D. Option D is correct. Okay.